Welcome to Diary of a Thinker, the podcast where we explore actionable strategies for enhancing your relationships, boosting your influence, and achieving personal success. I'm your host, and today we're diving into a question that might just change the way you interact with everyone around you. What if you could make people genuinely like you simply by changing a few small habits? Sounds powerful, right? Well, it is. And the answers lie in the timeless wisdom of Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. Stick with me for the next 10 minutes, and I'll show you how you can start applying these strategies today to see real positive changes in your life. Here's a question for you when you're in a conversation. How much of your attention is genuinely focused on the other person? Be honest, are you really listening, or are you just waiting for your turn to speak? Dale Carnegie argues that one of the most powerful ways to win friends is by showing a genuine interest in others. This might sound simple, but it's a game changer. When you truly listen to someone, when you ask them questions about their life, their work, their passions, you're telling them you matter, your story is important. For example, imagine you're at a networking event. You strike up a conversation with someone who mentions they're passionate about photography. Instead of just nodding and steering the conversation back to yourself, dive into their world. Ask them what they love about photography, what challenges they've faced, and what their favorite photo shoot has been. By doing this, you're not just making small talk, you're building a connection. The other person walks away feeling valued, and that feeling creates a lasting impression. The next time you're in a conversation, ask yourself, how interested am I in this person? And if the answer is not much, challenge yourself to change that. You'll be amazed at how people respond when they feel truly heard. Here's another question: how good are you at remembering people's names? Do you brush it off as unimportant, or do you make a conscious effort to remember and use names in your conversations? Dale Carnegie believed that a person's name is the sweetest sound in any language. It's a simple but powerful way to show someone that they're not just another face in the crowd. When you remember and use someone's name, you're telling them, I see you. You matter enough for me to remember who you are. Let's put this into practice. Imagine you've just met someone at a business meeting. You're introduced to John. Instead of letting his name slip away the moment you shake hands, make an effort to use it in the conversation. It's great to meet you, John. John, what do you think about this idea? By the end of the meeting, John feels more connected to you because you've made him feel recognized and important. If remembering names is something you struggle with, try associating the name with something memorable about the person, like their job, their appearance, or even the setting where you met them. Practice this and watch how people respond differently when you address them by name. It's a small change, but it can have a huge impact. I think back to the last compliment you gave. Was it a passing nice job, or was it something specific and genuine? Here's a question: how often do you make an effort to give compliments that truly resonate? Carnegie teaches us that a sincere compliment can be incredibly powerful, but it's all about how you deliver it. A compliment that's specific and heartfelt has the power to build strong, positive relationships. It's not just about flattery, it's about recognizing and appreciating the real contributions of others. For instance, let's say you work with someone who has just delivered an excellent presentation. Instead of just saying, great presentation, you could say, I was really impressed with how you handled those tough questions from the client. You kept the conversation focused and positive, which isn't easy to do under pressure. This kind of compliment is impactful because it shows that you've paid attention to the details and that you value their skills. It's these specific, sincere compliments that make people feel truly appreciated and valued. So, I challenge you, the next time you see someone doing something well, don't just think it, say it, and make it specific. You'll be surprised at how much this small gesture can strengthen your relationships. Let me ask you this: when was the last time you had a conversation where you felt truly listened to? How did it make you feel? Now, think about your own listening habits. Are you giving others that same level of attention? Carnegie emphasizes that being a good listener is one of the most underrated yet powerful ways to win friends and influence people. Listening is more than just hearing words, it's about understanding the person behind those words, their emotions, their thoughts, their needs. Consider this scenario: a friend comes to you with a problem. Instead of jumping in with your own advice or experiences, what if you simply listened? You might nod, maintain eye contact, and say things like, that sounds really tough, or I can see why that would upset you. By doing this, you're giving them the space to express themselves fully, without the pressure of having to hear your solutions. True listening builds trust. It makes people feel valued and understood. And when people feel that way, they naturally gravitate toward you. So the next time you're in a conversation, ask yourself, am I really listening? And if not, shift your focus. Let the other person talk and see how the dynamic changes. Here's a situation we've all been in: a disagreement, whether it's at work, at home, or with friends. The question is, how do you handle it? Do you jump in, ready to argue your point, or do you take a step back to find common ground? Carnegie gives us a surprising piece of advice here. The best way to win an argument is to avoid it. This doesn't mean backing down or agreeing when you don't. It means finding a way to resolve the conflict without direct confrontation by focusing on what you agree on and building from there. Imagine you're in a heated meeting where tempers are rising. Instead of pushing back with your own strong opinions, you could say, I see where you're coming from and I think you make some valid points. What if we took those ideas and combined them with some elements of this other approach? By acknowledging the other person's perspective first, you open the door to collaboration rather than confrontation. So the next time you feel a conflict brewing, ask yourself, how can I avoid an argument and instead find a solution that works for both of us? This shift in approach can not only resolve the issue, but also strengthen your relationship with the other person. Let's get real for a moment. How often do you admit when you're wrong? And how quickly do you do it? This might be one of the toughest questions to face, but it's also one of the most important. Carnegie advises that when you realize you're wrong, you should admit it quickly and clearly. It might feel uncomfortable, but this honesty is what builds trust and respect. People appreciate when someone has the integrity to own up to their mistakes rather than trying to cover them up or shift the blame. For example, if you've made a mistake in a project at work, instead of trying to downplay it or ignore it, you could say, I realize there's a mistake in the report and I'm going to fix it immediately. Here's what I'll do to make sure it doesn't happen again. By admitting your mistake openly, you not only demonstrate accountability, but also take control of the situation, showing that you're committed to finding a solution. This kind of honesty is rare and valuable, and it can significantly enhance your reputation as someone who is trustworthy and responsible. So I'll leave you with this challenge the next time you're wrong. Own it quickly and clearly. You'll find that this simple act of honesty can have powerful effects on your relationships. And there you have it, practical, real-world advice from Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People, all framed around some important questions that can guide your interactions. These aren't just strategies to try out, they're habits that can transform the way you connect with others. So next time you're in a conversation, ask yourself these questions. Am I genuinely interested? Am I using their name? Am I listening more than I'm talking? Am I avoiding unnecessary arguments? And am I willing to admit when I'm wrong? If you can answer yes to these questions, you're well on your way to building stronger, more positive relationships in every area of your life. Thanks for tuning in to Diary of a Thinker. If you found this episode helpful, don't forget to subscribe and share it.